Hi everyone, Natasha here, and around my home today I am in my office, and I'm excited to share with you something that I've been using over the last couple of months, and it has slowly been evolving into a very useful tool. So this is my routines notebook, and we're going to jump in and see what it's all about. So welcome to my office. If you've seen some of my recent planner stack videos and just planner updates and what I've been using, then you've probably seen this notebook. This is a TUL notebook, and I believe I got it, gosh, it's probably been 5 or 6 years ago at this point. I actually got it when I was still bullet journaling, just because I wanted to try the whole concept of using the disc type paper where you could move pages in and out. I didn't end up using it very much at the time for what I initially thought I might use it for. So it just sat on my shelf, and recently I was really trying to come up with an easy way to keep track of some of the different business systems that I use for my Jordan Essentials business. And I decided to just try writing some of them down and keeping them in this notebook, and it's become one of my favorite tools to use. I tend to be somebody that just works better on pen and paper, so although I have some digital apps and different systems through my Jordan Essentials back office, I tend to first want to sit down with a piece of paper and just make sure that I'm getting things done. So I will just kind of flip for a second and show you how the notebook came initially. So it did come with this cover page, and it came with this little bookmark. To me, it's a little bit of a flimsy bookmark, so I don't use it as often as what I have in here, and I'll show you that in a second. It did come with the 4 dividers, so I initially had set it up as business, home, family, and personal, and these are just some of the, I think these are like an Avery removable tab that I just wrote on, and I stuck those down, and I always like anything that's removable in case I change my mind. We'll go through the rest of this in a second, but there's a home section that I laid out, family. Obviously, I'm not using these sections for anything, and then personal. So back here was where I was putting just some of my general bullet journaling information when I was first getting started. I followed Boho Berry, and her channel's still up here on YouTube. She's got tons of great videos, and she's real inspiring just to see kind of her take on things. So I printed out a few of her, I'm not sure where I got these printables from her, but I don't know how I got them. So anyway, they may have been a freebie or something that came with her Boho Berry box at some point. So this is part of that getting things done and the weekly review. This was some notes I took. And so this part back here has really just become a notes collection spot, but I felt like, well, I'll just leave those in there for now. So going back to the beginning, this is the part that I've been using lately and that's been working really well, is to use my business section here. So I started out with this page. This is where I was just thinking about things that I wanted to create some routines for. I never ended up filling this out, but it sort of got my brain thinking in that way. So I had daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly, and then I had subdivided into things that were for me personally, things that were for our family, and then beyond. This is a term I got from the Learn, Do, Become system. So I have been working on the STEP program for a number of years, and I've kind of stalled out, but every once in a while I'll go back in and work on a few more things, and I do like it. But anyway, for them, but beyond just means, you know, it could be things in your community, could be things at work, could be volunteer things, your church, just anything that's outside of the home that you're wanting to devote some time to, or that you have responsibilities for. So anyway, that's one concept. I never ended up filling it out, but I thought it was useful just to start thinking about things. So this is kind of where it started. I do a monthly newsletter for my Jordan Essentials customers and VIPs. And one day I got tired of trying to come up with new ideas for this monthly newsletter. So I thought, well, I might as well just make a list of some of the same things I'm always either looking up or wanting to include. So I started out with that, and I do still reference this list anytime I need some inspiration or reminder of what are the things I normally include in my newsletter. I just go to this little notes page here. And then I also send out a special birthday email to the VIP members in my Facebook group, and then have that listed here. So each month I just go in and make sure I've sent them out for the month to those people. And again, it just gave me a way to make sure I could track and see what I had and had not done yet. This year I've also been doing a sample club, and this checklist has also just become my general checklist to make sure I'm following up with my customers on a somewhat regular basis. So I just started listing them out as I thought of them, and then as the year has gone on, I'll add the new ones at the back of the list. So you can see I just had the months of the year, and if I had contacted them or sent them either their sample club or just some general information. So this continues on. Now I'm into the third page for that, and so these are all new ones that I just recently sent them the May sample club. Then I also wanted a way to track my customers through some of the systems as I get them set up in my business. So I send them a thank you card. I put them into my Amy app, which prompts me to check on people periodically, especially after an order, certain amount of time. I made sure that their email was in our company system so they could get those emails, and just on and on through all the different things that I wanted to make sure I tracked. So this page has been helpful when I get a new order that comes through, just to make sure I'm doing all the things that I decided I want to do to create that customer in my business. Then this is a monthly reset page, and I've talked about this one recently too. So as we approach a new month, then these are the things I go through and start making sure I have on our family calendar in the kitchen and on my calendars, and just generally I'm working on and planning on. So I still need to go through and do most of the June things, but it's a good place again for me to go, so I'm not having to think and remember all these things and keep them in my head. I can just come to this list and check them out. And of course my YouTube videos are the same way. So anytime I think of a YouTube video idea, I'll jot it here, and then I can track all the steps along the way. And as you can see, I need to go through and do some of those last couple of things. And this was just kind of a loose plan I had come up with on some monthly things I wanted to make sure I was doing. And so this list is what evolved into that other checklist, and just some other notes and ideas that I was working on as well. So this routines notebook has been very helpful, and I noticed when I had a bullet journal that anytime I would have some sort of a routine like that laid out, it was helpful at the beginning when I set it up, but I had to really work to remember to go back and use it, and in some ways it got lost in all the pages of my bullet journal. And of course there's an index, and you can tab things, and there's lots of ways to find them back. And sometimes it worked and I remembered where that checklist would be, but for the time being, this has been working really well to just have this one notebook that all of these routines live in. And so anytime I know that I'm sitting down to do something that is part of one of these routines, I just grab this notebook and sit and go through it. And of course, if you've seen some of my Fly Lady videos, I have my Fly Lady clipboard that lives in the kitchen, and that is really where all of my home routines are. So that's my morning and afternoon and evening routine. That's our zone cleaning checklist. So that's basically our monthly cleaning routines. I have my daily list in there. So that's the things I do each day of the week. So those kinds of routines live in that separate binder. And who knows, I may come up with some other things that I do want to start putting in here. But for now, this is really working well, mainly focusing in on just my planning, my tracking things up here in my office, and my Jordan Essentials business specifically, to make sure I'm keeping track and taking the best care of my customers that I can. And also my YouTube, just doing the best things that I can for my YouTube videos and for my viewers. So that is my routines notebook, and maybe that gave you some ideas or some inspiration on something you might want to try setting up a routines notebook of your own. It could just be a few 3x5 cards if you want to start with something simple like that. If you have an old notebook around, grab something from your kids' old stash or whatever you've got, and just try making some of those things you do on a repeated basis into a routines list. And of course you could track it daily, weekly, you could just do the monthly ones like I've been doing, just depending on what it is, but it might be useful for you. So I hope that gave you some ideas or was something fun to think about as an option. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoy these sorts of videos, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. I'll be back on Tuesday with another tiny tidy video, so if you're enjoying that series, be sure to check back on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central to check that out and see my latest tiny tidy. Thanks again for watching, and have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.